Hey, it's Anna, and for today we're going to be learning all about objects, and I'll help you have a deeper understanding of what objects are in JavaScript because objects actually are very useful and a lot of things you can do with objects. There's a lot of things that you can do with them, and yeah, you can use them on your own. And if you like this video, of course, give this video a like and also subscribe to our channel if you want more videos to come. And to keep updated with the videos that we're pushing out, just hit also that bell notification so that you're informed. So let's get started and let's learn about objects in JavaScript. Okay, so for this one, we're going to be using Visual Studio Code. So if you don't have that in your machines, go ahead to the link below and download it to your computer so we can use it as our code editor. And I already also created a new folder in my desktop named JavaScript Practice right here. And this is the folder that we're going to be opening in Visual Studio Code. So I actually have that open right here, and inside that JavaScript practice folder, I already have this script.js file. So just a quick overview of how to create files in VS Code. You just click on this new file, or even right click here and click on new file, and then the name of your file, which would be script.js. All right, since I already have that, I don't have to create that again. All right. And first of all, we're going to understand what JavaScript objects are. So JavaScript objects are versatile constructs that you can use to store collections of data and even more complex entities. And they work as the backbone of most JavaScript applications. So this objects also enables developers to create structured, interactive, and stateful programs. So let's dive deeper and into understanding what JavaScript objects are with practical examples. So first of all, let's create a basic object right here. So let's create a new variable with a let, and then the name of our object would be book. Okay. So objects are actually a type of variable, but more specifically, it's a non-primitive data type, which means it's more complex than its primitive counterparts. And for this one, we're going to create a book, and let's say this is an object. So we're going to use some curly braces to initiate that this is an object. All right, and inside this curly braces, we're going to put in some key and value pairs. So for this one, let's say it's title. Of course, books have titles. And let's say this is 1984, the book 1984. All right. And next, we'll also add an author. So these things that we're writing right now are called properties, or the characteristics of an object. And most likely, objects in JavaScript, they are representing something from the real world. So for example, we're representing a book. So that is a actual real world object. So we put in an author, and let's say this is George Orwell. Okay. So give us a comment down below if you've read this book already. And let's also give it another property, which is available. So we're checking if the book is available. So for this one, we're going to put in a boolean. So for example, this is not available. So let's say that this is false. All right. And also in objects, we can also give them things they can do. All right. Like, of course, in real world objects like cars, they can drive, right? They can move, they can reverse, and they can do many things. As well as books, we can give it some methods. So that's what we call objects. What objects can do, that we call them methods. And we're going to give this a method of check availability. Okay, so we can check the availability of this book. And for this method, we put in functions. Okay, so let's put in a function keyword right here. Okay, and some open and close parentheses. This is going to be a very simple function. So let's just check if we're going to reference this object itself, and we're going to check the is available property. All right. So let's put that in parentheses right there. So if it's available, it's going to return book is available. Okay. And if it's not available, so let's put in here, we're just going to say return book is not available. Okay. Since we're already checking if the book is actually available, so if this is true, it will go and return this one and not continue on the next line. But if it's not, it's going to go outside of that if statement and just continue on this return statement next to it. Then let's finally check that with a log. So console.log, and there is a shortcut for that, which is log. And then click that. Let's get the method check availability right here. We can get these methods with a dot notation. So let's just type in here, book dot check availability, and we're using the dot notation here to access the book's method, which is check availability, and this should output false. Okay, so before we actually run this, we need node.js in our machines so we can run it directly into our Visual Studio Code. So let's just search up node.js.org and press enter. So just click on this version, the 20.10, as long as it has that LTS, which means long-term support. And this is recommended for most users, and just download that and just go through the installation steps like you do with other softwares. And once you have node.js installed, let's go to view and let's go to terminal, and let's run this script by typing in node and then the name of our script, which is script.js. Press enter. And there we go. We have function, check availability. So this is showing because we didn't add the open and close parentheses right here. It's just getting this one right here, but we actually want the function itself. So let's run it again by pressing on the up arrow key button, which goes to our previously entered command in the terminal. And let's just press enter. There we go. And as you can see, the book is not available, which is because the property of the book is false. And when it comes to objects, we also have constructors. So I'll show you what constructors are, and those are like blueprints for when you're creating objects. And constructors, basically they construct. In the word itself, it constructs our objects. So let's just remove this terminal for now, and let's remove all of these, and we're going to create this same thing with a constructor. So let's create a function right here, and this will be a book function, and it will take in the title and the author, so we can initiate that into our object. And we're gonna say that this, which means the object that we're creating, which is the book, this and the title property with that would be the title, and this dot author, which is the author property, will also be the author parameter that we entered. And we're also gonna add is available property right here. We're just going to set it to false like we did a while ago. And we're going to give it another method, which is the check availability method like we did earlier. And for this one, we're going to equate it to a function too, open and close parentheses, and some curly braces right here. And we're just going to do the same thing as before. So we're going to check if this dot is available. It will return book is available. Okay, and if it's not available, if it's false, it will just skip this if statement and go to this. So let's just return like we did earlier, book is not available. There we go. All right, and now we can create objects using this constructor right here. So let's first create one book. So let my first book, and we're going to call this constructor. So let's say new. We're going to create a new book, and for that we're putting in the title, which is 1984, so because those are our parameters, and the author, which is George Orwell. There we go. And now we have created our first book, which is an instance of our book object. And we could actually create another one. Let's say my second book. Okay, and this will also have the same format or syntax. So new book, and we're going to first give it the title. Let's say Kafka on the Shore. And this is by Murakami. All right. And there we go. We now have two book objects with different titles, but they both have the same is available, which is false. They are both not available, and they have this same method of check availability. So let's actually call these. So let's log right here, and let's check my first book first. And let's call in the title of this one. Same for my second book. We're going to do that too. So my second book dot title. And there we go. So let's go to our terminal again. And let's press the up arrow key just so we can go back to our previous command and press enter. And there we go. We have 1984 and we have Kafka on the Shore. So now we have two objects right there. So it's pretty neat when you want to create multiple objects with the same properties and methods. All right, now that we know more about the basics of objects, the methods, properties, we can also introduce to you what classes are. So classes is introduced by ES6 or ECMAScript 2015 to JavaScript, which provides a new syntax for creating objects as well as other features that makes our creating objects and dealing with multiple objects when you want to create the same ones, inherit the same properties and methods to different objects. So I'm going to show you more of that, and let's just remove this all for now. And I'm going to show you how to create a class. Okay, so this is like a blueprint. So this is kind of the same like a constructor, but it's called a class. And actually classes do have constructors in them, which creates our object. So let's say we have a class of car, right? So we just write it like this. And inside these curly braces, we put in the constructor to, of course, construct our object. So we have the brand and the model for our constructor right here. And we're going to put that some curly braces here. And we're going to set this dot brand, of course, like we did with the constructor. We're just going to say that the brand of the object will be, of course, the brand parameter. And we're also going to set the model to be the model parameter or the argument that we will be entering later on. Okay. And after that, we're still inside this class. We're going to add a method on it, which is a display info. Okay. And open close parentheses because this is going to be a function, of course, because this is a method. And let's just log out simply. Let's say log. And we're going to simply log out. We're going to use some backticks right here because we're going to be using some template literals, which is also part of advanced JavaScript features. And let's say this car is A. And the template for template literals or the syntax for that is a $sign. Let me just look for that in my keyboard. There we go. And some curly braces. And then we're just going to call the brand. So this dot brand. So we're calling the brand of the object. And we're also going to put here another template literals, which is going to be this dot model. So it's going to say this car is A, and then the brand, and then the model of the car. Then let's just put a period right here to complete that sentence. Okay, so that's all we need for the class right here. So let me just create my first car right here. We're going to create two cars. Okay, and we're just going to call the car first. So this works pretty similar with the constructor, but it's more organized because we're putting it inside a class. So let's say this is a Toyota. Okay, Toyota. And the model is a Corolla. Okay. Okay. And let's create another car, which is my second car. And again, the same thing, new car. And then let's say this is, okay, so let's say this is a Ford. Okay. The brand is Ford and the model is a Mustang. All right. Oh, sorry. There we go. And finally, let's just call these. So my first car. And we're going to call the display info methods, which is also inside these objects that we created, because of course we used the class, which is like the blueprint of our objects. And together with that, it includes this display info method. So let's go ahead and call that display info method. It should be there. There we go. And some open and close parentheses. Don't forget that. And we're also going to do that with the second one. Display info, open and close parentheses, and then a semicolon to cap that off. Okay, let's go to our terminal by going to view and then clicking on terminal. And let's just run node script.js like we do when we're checking our output. And let's just wait for that. And it should show information. So there we go. We have this car is a Toyota Corolla and this car is a Ford Mustang. So yeah, we got that. And it's pretty similar with the constructor, but most of the time we just use classes because it has inheritance. It deals with other OOP concepts that we can manage and use more easily with classes. All right, now that we learned about classes and objects and all the good stuff, we're going to actually put that in a practical example. And for this case, we're going to be using like a shopping cart. So let me just remove this all. And first, let's create a class for our products. All right. And our product will also have a constructor. Oops, constructor. And the product, of course, will have its name and price. Okay, and inside this constructor, we're just going to set the name of the object to be the name parameter or the argument, and that we'll be putting on later on, and we'll do the same thing with the price as well. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's all we need for the class of the product. We also need to create a class for the shopping cart. So let me put that in here. There we go. And we're going to create a constructor for this one too. And we don't actually need to put anything inside these parentheses because we know, of course, shopping carts don't need names and they don't need any other, they don't have any other characteristics we need to put in it initially. But the only thing that we need to put is the products itself. So let's call this dot products. Okay, so this will be inside the shopping cart, of course, and we're going to set it as an array. Okay, so this is an empty array right here. So we're going to fill that in later on. Okay, and we're still inside this shopping cart class, and we're going to add a method for this, which is adding a product. And this will accept a product parameter. Okay, and what are we going to do with that? We're going to get this products. Okay, we're going to get this empty array right here, and we're going to push into that the product that we entered. There we go. All right. We're going to create another method right here, which is for calculating the total of our cart. Okay, and let's say some open close parentheses and then some curly braces right here. And first, we're going to let the total, we're going to create the total, and we're going to create that 0 for now. And we're going to create a for loop right here, and we're going to say for let I equals 0. So this is the starting point for our for loop. So 0 starts at 0, and as long as I is less than this dot products dot length, it will keep on running. Okay, so if we have 3 products, it will run for 3 times, and then it will stop after that. And for every iteration, it will go ahead and increment the I to the next one. So we start at 0, and then plus 1, and then plus 1, and so on. And inside this for loop, we're just gonna get the total, and we're gonna use this plus assignment operator of plus equals, and we're gonna say this products. Products. Where is that? There we go. And then the current index of I and the price of that product, we're going to add that to the total. So for example, for the first iteration, the total is 0. And for example, our first product is, for example, $5. It will add 5 to the total. So the total right now is 5. And then on the next iteration, for example, we have $10 for the next product. We're going to add 10 to the 5 in the total. So that will be 15, and that will happen so on and so forth. All right. And finally, we're just going to return the total. Okay, there we go. All right. So now that's all we need for our shopping cart. Let's actually create our objects that we'll be using. So first, let's create our cart object. So let cart, and this will be a new shopping cart right there. There we go. And next, we're gonna add some products into our cart. So let's say cart dot add product. There we go. And inside this, we actually can create objects inside this method directly without having to put it into a variable. So let's just say new product. So we're creating a new product right here. And let's say this is a laptop. There we go. And the price of this is $1,200. And we're going to do the same thing, add product again to the cart. And we're going to say another new product right here. And for that one, it's going to be a phone. And it's a pretty cheap phone for its price. Let's just say $500. And that's all we need. Finally, let's log out on the console our total. So let's say cart, we're going to get the cart, and we're going to access the method, which is the calculating the total. Let's say calculate total. There we go. And some open and close parentheses, because remember, this is a method. Oops. There we go. All right. And this should output 1,200 plus 500 would be 1,700. Let's actually see. Let's go to view, and let's go to our terminal, and let's run node.script.js again by clicking on or pressing on the up arrow key on our keyboard just to access the last command. And let's press enter, and there we go. We have a 1.7 right there. So that is a more practical yet still simple example of how we can use classes and objects, and how we can access properties of our object through the dot notation. And you can actually also create with constructors with our classes. So yeah, I hope that clears things up. when it comes to classes and objects. And we hope to see you again on another video if you want to learn more about objects, and we're going to explore more about it in future videos.